Dari or Dari Persian is the variety of the Persian language spoken in Afghanistan. Dari is the term officially recognized and promoted since 1964 by the Afghan government for the Persian language. Hence, it is also known as Afghan Persian in many Western sources. As defined in the Constitution of Afghanistan, it is one of the two official languages of Afghanistan. The other is Pashto. Dari is the most widely spoken language in Afghanistan and the native language of approximately 25 to 50% of the population, serving as the country's lingua franca. The Iranian and Afghan types of Persian are mutually intelligible, with differences found primarily in the vocabulary and phonology. By way of early New Persian, Dari Persian, like Iranian Persian and Tajik, is a continuation of Middle Persian, the official religious and literary language of the Sasanian Empire, itself a continuation of Old Persian, the language of the Achaemenids. In historical usage, Dari refers to the Middle Persian court language of the Sassanids. Name Dari is a name given to the New Persian language since the 10th century, widely used in Arabic and Persian texts. Since 1964, it has been the official name in Afghanistan for the Persian spoken there. In Afghanistan, Dari refers to a modern dialect form of Persian that is the standard language used in administration, government, radio, television, and print media. Because of a preponderance of Dari native speakers, who normally refer to the language as Farsi, it is also known as Afghan Persian in some Western sources. Dari, spoken in Afghanistan, should not be confused with Dari or Gabri of Iran, a language of the Central Iranian subgroup, spoken in some Zoroastrian communities. History. There are different opinions about the origin of the word Dari. The majority of scholars believes that Dari refers to the Persian word dar or darba, meaning court, as it was the formal language of the Sassanids. The original meaning of the word Dari is given in a notice attributed to Ibn al-Muqaffa. According to him, Parsi was the language spoken by priests, scholars, and the like. It is the language of Fars. It is obvious that this language refers to the Middle Persian. As for Dari, he says, it is the language of the cities of Madin. It is spoken by those who are at the king's court. Its name is connected with presence at court. Among the languages of the people of Khorasan in the east, the language of the people of Balkh is predominant. The origin of Dari comes from the Middle Persian, which was spoken during the rule of the Sassanid dynasty. In general, Iranian languages are known from three periods, usually referred to as Old, Middle, and New periods. These correspond to three eras in Iranian history, the Old Era being the period from some time before, during and after the Achaemenid period, the Middle Era being the next period, namely, the Sassanid period and part of the post-Sassanid period, and the New Era being the period afterwards down to the present day. But it is thought that the first person in Europe to use the term Dari for Dari was Thomas Hyde, at Oxford, in his chief work, Historia Religionis Veterum Passarum. Dari or Deri has two meanings: language of the court, the Zebani Dari, or the language of the court, and the Zebani Farsi, the dialect of Persia at large. Dari, sometimes Araki methods, is a form of poetry used from Rudaki to Jami. In 1500 AD it appeared in Herat in the Persian-speaking Timurid dynasty, and by speaking in Farsi Indian poets of the Mughal Empire who used the Indian verse methods or rhyme methods like Bedal and Muhammad Iqbal, became familiar with the Araki methods. Iqbal loved both styles of literature and poetry. When he wrote, "One Gach Hindi da Uzubat tu Shakar ast Tazi Goftari Dari Sharantar ast," translation. According to literature and poetry, even though in euphonious Hindi asterisk is sugar, rhyme method in Dari is sweeter asterisk Kandi Parsi or Gandhi Parsi, is a metaphor for the Persian language and poetry. Original Bay Iqbal. Hindi, Hindi in Devanagari script equals Urdu in Persian Arabic script, is an adjective of Uzubat or Ozubat English. bliss or delight, flavor or sweetness. In language, literature and poetry, uzubut means euphonious, melody or phonesthetics. This poem is a poetic statement of the poetic bull with respect to the poetry of the 14th century Persian poet Hafez. Shaka Shekan Shavand Hamer Totiani Henze Nqande Parsi Ke Bar Bengali Meravad. English translation. All the parrots of India will crack sugar through this Persian candy, which is going to Bengal. Dari Persian spread around the Oxus River region, Afghanistan, and Khorasan after the Arab conquests and during Islamic Arab rule. The Dari Persian language spread and led to the extinction of Eastern Iranian languages like Bactrian, Khwarezmian, with only a tiny amount of Sogdian-descended Yaghnobi speakers remaining among the now Persian-speaking Tajik population of Central Asia, due to the fact that the Arab Islamic army which invaded Central Asia also included some Persians who later governed the region like the Samanids. Persian was rooted into Central Asia by the Samanids. Geographical distribution. Dari, which is sometimes called Farsi, is one of the two official languages of Afghanistan. In practice, though, it serves as the de facto lingua franca among the various ethno-linguistic groups. Dari is spoken natively by about 25% to more than a half of the population of Afghanistan as a first language. Tajiks, who comprise approximately 27% of the population, are the primary speakers, followed by Hazaras and Imaks. Moreover, many Pashtuns living in Tajik and Hazara concentrated areas also use Dari as a first language. The World Factbook states that 50% of the Afghan population speaks Dari language. About 2.5 million Afghans in Iran and Afghans in Pakistan, part of the wider Afghan diaspora, also speak Dari as one of their primary languages. Dari dominates the northern, western and central areas of Afghanistan, and is the common language spoken in cities such as Mazar-i-Sharif, Herat, Faizabad, Panjshir, Bamiyan, and the Afghan capital of Kabul, where all ethnic groups are settled. Dari-speaking communities also exist in southwestern and eastern Pashtun-dominated areas such as in the cities of Ghazni, Farah, Zaranj, Lashkargah, Kandahar, and Gardez. Cultural influence. Dari has contributed to the majority of Persian borrowings in other Asian languages, such as Urdu, Hindi, Punjabi, Bengali, etc., as it was the administrative, official, cultural language of the Persa-centric Mughal Empire and served as the lingua franca throughout the South Asian subcontinent for centuries. Often based in Afghanistan, Turkic Central Asian conquerors brought the language into South Asia. The basis in general for the introduction of Persian language into the subcontinent was set, from its earliest days, by various Persianized Central Asian Turkic and Afghan dynasties. The sizable Persian component of the Anglo-Indian loanwords in English and in Urdu therefore reflects the Dari pronunciation. For instance, the words dopiaza and pajama come from the Dari pronunciation. In the Iranian Persian they are pronounced dupiaza and pajama. Persian lexemes and certain morphological elements have often been employed to coin words for political and cultural concepts, items, or ideas that were historically unknown outside the South Asian region, as is the case with the aforementioned borrowings. The Dari language has a rich and colorful tradition of proverbs that deeply reflect Afghan culture and relationships, as demonstrated by U.S. Navy Captain Edward Zellum in his bilingual books on Afghan Dari proverbs collected in Afghanistan. Differences between Iranian and Afghan Persian. There are phonological, lexical, and morphological differences between Dari and Western Persian. There are no significant differences in the written forms, other than regional idiomatic phrases. Phonology. Phonetically, Dari generally resembles a more formal and classical form of Persian. The differences in pronunciation of Iranian and Afghan Persian can be considerable, similar to those between Scottish and and Cockney English. Although educated speakers generally have relatively little difficulty understanding each other, the principal differences between Standard Iranian Persian, based on the dialect of the capital Tehran, and Afghan Dari, as based on the Kabul dialect, are the merging of major vowels e, I, and o, u, into I and u, respectively in Iranian Persian, whereas in Afghan Persian, they are still kept separate. For instance, the identically written words lion and milk are pronounced the same in Iranian Persian as sir, but sir for lion and sir for milk in Afghan Persian. The long vowel in quick and strong is realized as u in Iranian Persian. In contrast, these words are pronounced zood and zor, respectively, by Persian speakers in Afghanistan. The treatment of the diphthongs of early classical Persian, or and I, which are pronounced ow and ej in Iranian Persian. Dari, on the other hand, is more archaic, e.g., Persian New Year is realized as Nowruz in Iranian and Noroz in Afghan Persian, and no is Narkijr in Iranian and Narkijr in Afghan Persian. Moreover, ow is simplified to o in normal Iranian speech, thereby merging with the short vowel u. This does not occur in Afghan Persian. The high short vowels I and u tend to be lowered in Iranian Persian to e and o. The pronunciation of the labial consonant, which is realized as a voice labiodental fricative v. But Afghan Persian still retains the bilabial pronunciation w. V is found in Afghan Persian as an allophone of f before voice consonants. The convergence of voiced velar stop and voice velar fricative in Iranian Persian is still kept separate in Dari. The realization of short final a as e in Iranian Persian, the realization of short non-final a as a in Iranian Persian, a and e in word final positions are separate in Dari. E is a word final allophone of a in Iranian Persian. Vocabulary: there are some words that differ in Persian Dari as to Persian Farsi. Some examples are listed below. The usage of the above words differs in the Persian languages. Gapzadan is an Old Persian word. Half-zadan is from Arabic word half and auxiliary zadan. Gapadan, to speak, was correct, but is now considered outdated. Dari retains the use of gapzadan for conversations, whereas half-zadan is almost always used in Iran. Iranians seldom use gapzadan in informal conversations. Dialect continuum: the dialects of Dari spoken in northern, central and eastern Afghanistan, for example in Kabul, Mazar, and Badakhshan, have distinct features compared to Iranian Persian. However, the dialect of Dari spoken in western Afghanistan stands in between the Afghan and Iranian Persian. For instance, the Herata dialect shares vocabulary and phonology with both Dari and Iranian Persian. Likewise, the dialect of Persian in eastern Iran, for instance in Mashhad, is quite similar to the Herata dialect of Afghanistan. The Kabuli dialect has become the standard model of Dari in Afghanistan, as has the Tehrani dialect in relation to the Persian in Iran. Since the 1940s, Radio Afghanistan has been broadcasting its Dari programs in Kabuli Dari, which ensured the homogenization between the Kabuli version of the language and other dialects of Dari spoken throughout Afghanistan. Since 2003, the media, especially the private radio and television broadcasters, have carried out their Dari programs using the Kabuli variety. Political views on the language: the native speakers of Dari usually call their language Farsi. However, the term Dari has been officially promoted by the government of Afghanistan for political reasons, and enjoys equal official status alongside Pashto in Afghanistan. The local name for Persian language was officially changed from Farsi to Dari in 1964. Within their respective linguistic boundaries, Dari and Pashto are the medium of education.